All right, guys. Today we got a real special guest in the house, man. Queens legend, survivor, warrior, the governor. This man been through a lot. I have never chased an interview more than this one. We've been going back and forth for months, man, to get this one done, but I knew it was worth it. I know you've been going through it too, my brother. I'm talking about the one and only Royal Flush.
Yes.
What's good with you, Flush?
Hey, shit, man. One day at a time, man. That's it.
I feel you, man. First, I want to let you guys know I'm including the link to his GoFundMe in the description. Please support him, man. You guys are supporting a great cause to help this man throughout his cancer journey. So, Flush, with my interviews, I like to do things in chronological order so we can really give the audience like an idea of your journey, you know, where you came from, how you got to where you are today. So you're from Flushing, Queens, right?
Yes, I'm from Flushing, Queens, where Mic Geronimo, Neat the Exotic, and Large Professors from.
Were you born in Flushing?
Yes. I mean, I was well, I was born. I was born in Manhattan. Then we went to Florida, and then I came back to Flushing because my family's Cuban, so not all my family came. A lot of them were still in Florida.
Are you full Cuban?
My mother's Cuban. My mother and my grandparents. My father. My mother came to visit New York. That's when she met my father.
Oh, okay. So then you're half black then, right?
Right. Absolutely.
All right. And then how old were you when you moved to Florida and then back to New York?
I moved. Well, my family was still down there, so I just went like back and forth all the time. So I would be in both. Remember, because my father was here, my mother's family, my grandfather and them was there too.
Mm-hmm. And so you were born in the 70s, right? But coming up in the 80s?
Yeah, I was born. Yep, 75. I was born.
Wow. So right around hip hop, right around that time.
Perfect. So like when I'm 5 or 6, I'm hearing Curtis Blow. I'm hearing it. I'm involved with it.
Did you grow up with any siblings?
Yeah, I mean, but I'm the oldest. I'm the oldest. So I have a brother that's a year and a half younger than me. We both look like twins. And then I got my sister, another brother, another sister. So it's 5 of us.
So he could play you in the biopic.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, he don't really do music, but there was times where when I first came out, like I'd be booked in 2 different places, and I would ask him would he go do it, and he never did it. Never did it. But one time, I think I was getting too drunk, and he went on stage, but I was there, and he had to lip sing a couple of my songs.
Nice. Wow.
Right.
That's crazy. How was the household like with your parents? I know you said you're half Cuban, so was it traditional in that sense?
It was a little more rougher for me because my grandmother was here in New York, but a lot of my other family was in Florida, so I didn't really, and then my father, he was always incarcerated. So it was like I raised myself, I raised myself from a kid. So I became a man early.
So you didn't have like a close relationship with your parents at all?
Yeah, me and my moms was tight, but during maybe going into junior high school, she moved to Florida. So it was like no parents there for me. So it was just like me, my grandmother, and she would work all the time. So I'd be in the streets all the time with the fellas.
Got you. So then your grandmother took over, like in a lot of households, and in the inner cities, right? Got you.
Right.
Got you. What did your parents do for work?
My father was in the streets, and he's always incarcerated. He's still incarcerated. But my mother, she was a nurse. My grandmother, she worked in a hospital. She was like the head cook in the hospital. So I had family that was doing shit, but I was still really on my own.
What was that like for you growing up when your dad was always gone because he was incarcerated?
It was rough. It was real rough because like even like I don't. I think I probably dropped out of school in junior high school. I started getting arrested, started going to jail. Um, I guess growing up, nobody was there to go on my school trips. Nobody helped me with my homework, so it was kind of rough for me.
Got you. So like the things that were being modeled to you at that time wasn't to like necessarily focus on school, but you were seeing kind of like your dad, and then you saw like what was going on in the streets.
Right. That's what I got adapted to. I started, I didn't, being at that age when you don't have no parents, in my era, hanging out all night. It was no internet. It was no social media. It was no phones. So to be outside, you had to see people. So I was always outside. Never had a curfew. So I was always outside with the drug dealers, the gang bangers. That's who raised me.
Right. So paint the scene for us, right? Flushing, Queens, the 80s. What are you seeing when you walk through the neighborhood?
Well, in my neighborhood was so diverse. It was like it was the Korean mafia, it was the Russian mafia, it was the Indian mafia. I dealt with so many nationalities that it was easier for me to cope. Like if I went out to Queensbridge, those were just black people, so I knew how to deal with that. But growing up in Flushing, I had to kind of get in where I fit in and see what nationality would accept me. So it was a little more rougher, but every nationality accept me. I was part of everything.
Right, because there's a really big Asian population in Flushing, right? So you grew up amongst that diversity. Did you see like a lot of tension amongst the Asian and black communities growing up?
Being that I'm from Flushing, and when I was in Flushing, I kind of watched the Asians. I watched it come. I watched from like maybe the first two Asians that came to Flushing. So I watched the whole thing grow, and then maybe
Oh wow! So
let's
then
say
you
like
saw
maybe
like before the community really like rose, because it's like almost like a small Chinatown there, isn't it?
now it is, but there was a time when I didn't see no Chinese people, no nothing. It was just maybe like it was Indian and black and and white and Spanish, but it was no Oriental, nothing. Like I watched that come. I watched the first store they buy, and then when they first came, they came with they had like their own games, like the Flying Dragons, the White Tigers, games like that, and I was like the liaison. I was the middleman to the black culture and to the streets. So I kind of kept the peace amongst that. So I kind of was the middleman to bringing like when the Asians and everybody came to making everybody adapt.
How did you find yourself in that position as being that person that was in the middle of all that, helping delegate it?
Cause I mean, if anybody know me, I'm no matter how gangster I am, I'm always cool. I'm always friendly. I always read the room, so no matter what room you put me in, I'm gonna know how to fit in. So when it came and we all in school and somebody was having a problem, I would mediate it, make sure everybody was all right, or I would throw a party and I would invite the Flying Dragons. I invite five of them, and they'll come to the black party with me, and they'll have a good time. And then they started inviting me to their parties. So that's how I kind of kept it going.
Wow. So there was no really discrimination against like either group or anything at that time?
I mean, yes. I guess before you come here, in any nationality, you always hear black is bad. I don't care what nationality you are, black is bad. But then when I started coming home after school, I would hang out with some of them, and I actually went home to their families. They accepted me, and they brought me to their family. They brought me out. So I kind of made a lot of people in Flushing understand that black was cool, and it became friendly quick. That's why they was able to just kind of like take over Main Street because it was no resistance. So I feel I'm to blame for the no resistance zone.
So that must have made you so much more of a well-rounded person though, because like you were able to see so many different cultures and get along and consume the other cultures technically, right? Because you had relationships with them.
Right.
And what do you think that you learned from being able to do all those things?
Just don't ever judge a book by its cover. And I think I gave that lesson to a lot of people in Flushing. Like, don't judge a book by its cover. Get to know the person first, and if you like them, you like them. If you don't, you don't. But don't just judge it by seeing the color of their skin, how they look.
Right, definitely on some MLK shit for sure, And I think that we as people, a lot of times we think that we can trust our own people more likely, like they won't do us as dirty, but like I feel like piece of shit comes in every color, like it don't matter.
There's no color to a piece of shit.
Right, right. So what kind of kid were you? Like, were you really into sports or music early on?
No, I was fascinated by the streets, hanging outside, the fast money, the women, the cars, the jewelry. My friends went to go play basketball. I hung on the corner with the drug dealers, and went to the store for them and went to count their money or put their stash away or, stuff like that. I went to go do a ride with them to go re-up. So I never really was in the sport.
What age are we talking that this started?
9, 10.
Wow. So at 9, 10 years old, you're already in the streets doing these type of things. I know you're a parent, right? So could you, but does that ever trip you out? Like when you think, damn, when I was this age, I'm looking at my child, right? I'm like, when I was their age, I was doing this. Like, could you ever imagine?
Oh, I look at it now. Like my daughter's 13, and I remember at 13, I had a car and a crib. And I drive my daughter to school every day at 13. And 13, I was on the highway driving. So yeah, it's a big difference. I mean, completely.
Mm-hmm. So at that time, what was so fascinating to you about the streets? Was it because you didn't have that proper male role model for you, or what like drew you to that?
I guess really not having your parents all the time with you. You know what I'm saying? You find other parents, and I think the older drug dealers and people outside became my parents. So I went home to just eat, but then I wanted to come outside with my family. So that's what drew me. That's what drew me to the streets. But when you don't really have a family, you're looking for love. You don't know where you're gonna get it from. So I got mine from the street.
Do you think that like they tried to take advantage of you in any way, like the OGs, or do you think that they were genuinely looking out for you?
They was looking out. I mean, because I'm still a little dude, so they're not gonna hurt me or nothing. But what it did do was, by the time I got to be around my peers, my age, I was already outgrown them. I. That's why I was always a boss, because I hung around bosses, and then somebody that was my age. By the time we got 15, 16, I was taking over neighborhoods, and they were still workers because I already knew the advantage of being around the bosses.
Hmm. You were saying that because they call you the governor, right?
Hmm.
And so it makes sense because what you were saying about how you were able to be very diplomatic and facilitate so many things, um, for you, right? What was your main purpose of wanting to do that, though?
I guess just having a knowledge of, like, I felt like I was growing than everybody, and then like even dealing with the Asians, it grew into more. So like if there was fights in the neighborhood, and I was able to be the middleman, the liaison, and break it up, then that's what I started doing young. And then as I got older, it'd be like two different neighborhoods are shooting at each other, and they don't even know why they're shooting at each other. They never talk to each other. So I would bring both of the leaders together and have them sit down and talk, and they realize they really didn't even have beef, or there'd be guys that get their jury taken, and and whether they want to pay for it, or whether they want it back, I would be the person that'd be to talk to the person that took your chain and work something out.
Flush, you was getting that multicultural pussy. Do not lie, okay? You was getting
Yes,
samples. That's what you was getting.
yes, yes. Oh, I mean, that was the other advantage. That was the other advantage.
He was like, you know what? Tonight I'm feeling in the mood for Chinese. Let me go get some.
Yes, yes, yes. And it's all different. It could be Japanese, Korean,
Right, right.
and it don't matter what it was.
So you were born around the time of hip hop, right? You said that you grew up, you remember hearing Curtis Blow, you're 5, 6 years old, okay? Do you remember the moment that you fell in love with hip hop?
Being that I was from the streets, once I heard Coogee rap, I said people make music for drug dealers. And that's when I wanted to get into it.
How old are you at this time?
Well, I guess I'm a teenager, 13, 14. What Coogee rap came out 88.
So at this time, you're thinking, I want to pick up the pen?
No, I didn't. I didn't pick up the pen, but I started hustling, and we would sit in my building, and somebody would do the beat like that. And then me, I could talk about everything that happened that day. I'd be like, there go little Ray Ray, he just bought 5 cracks. There goes Sean Tace, he's sucking dick in the back. And I would just talk about everything that happened that day, but never knew how to put it into a rhyme. But I would do that all the time.
So,
freestyling.
oh, so you're freestyling, but you are rhyming though. But you're not like,
Yeah, oh yeah. I'm talking about whatever goes on. It's rap. It rhymes, but I'm actually just painting a picture.
got you. Wow, that's amazing. So prior to that, did you have any interest in the other elements of hip hop, like graffiti or breakdancing or anything?
When I was young, I tried to break dance. We had the break dance crews around us, but then I realized that they used to just call me to steal cardboard and Malonium. They didn't really want me on the team. They just wanted me to go to the back of the stores and steal a whole big refrigerator box
No,
so they
you
could have
wasn't nice.
cardboard.
You wasn't nice spinning on your head.
Nah, yeah, I was, but I was more. I like to pop. I like to do. You know what I mean? I was into popping.
Um, you know, over the years, there's been some kind of debate about the creation of hip hop, right? And how involved Puerto Ricans and other Latinos were in the creation of hip hop. From what you saw growing up, what did you see? Like, how involved were Latinos at that time?
For me growing up, I didn't see separation. I thought when hip hop it was Spanish. Me watching B Street, I like shit. I like the Ramones. You know what I mean? Like that was my favorite cat. So it was like I think, and then breakdancing to me, I thought all the Spanish kids was better than the black kids. So I mean, it was all part of one culture to me. So when I thought Spanish, I thought black, I thought hip hop.
And you being, half and half, like, so for you, you're like even seeing like more of a connection, right? Because you have a connection to like both sides. You know,
Oh,
I I know Fat Joe came out not too long ago and he got some flack when he said that hip hop was created 50-50 by blacks and Latinos. What did you see? Do you think that's a fair assumption or
I
assessment?
mean,
Sorry.
yeah, because if we talking about hip hop, or we just talking about rap? So yeah, maybe they want to say maybe rap, it could be maybe 70-30. But if we talking about hip hop, breakdancing, freestyling, just the art of it, the dress, the looks, the B-boy stance, yeah, nah, it's 50-50. Fat Joe was absolutely right.
Yeah, when I interviewed MC Shan, Shan had said that, you know, there were certain elements that the Latinos were more involved with the graffiti and the breakdancing, right?
Right.
But the rappers dressed like them, and the way that they dressed was in the, the suits and the Kangos and the Adidas and everything. So, of course, another element of hip hop is fashion. So that's what he was saying, was that like you kind of got to give it up more. That is, there's more truth to that. Man, roll the clip.
We stole their style. That's how Puerto Ricans are part of what this hip hop thing is. Because rappers like myself and LL Cool J, how did the breakdancers dress? They dressed in them sweatsuits, them goddamn Pumas and them Adidas. Did they or did they not?
Yeah, they did.
Any rapper that came before Run DMC dressed in all that crazy ass Melly Mel and all that shit with the fucking, I love Mel and them, but we wasn't dressing like them niggas. We don't fucking wear them boots that Mel and them, all the fur fucking collars and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? All the spiky belts and all that wrist shit. We wasn't rocking with them like that. And so who do we rock with? We rock with the style that the B-boys was rocking with. That's where the Kangos came from. That's where the sweatsuits came from. That's where the Pumas and the Adidas with the fat laces came from. And so for somebody to try and separate the Puerto Rican and black aspect of hip-hop, you're wrong, son.
Yeah, I mean, as far as fashion, yeah, because I mean, at that point, hip hop, that's how we dressed. It was the look. It was whoever the artist was out. Run DMC was out, then we wore Shelter Adidas. We had, we fought. MC Shan was out. He had me had two different color Pumas on. So it was just you follow whatever your biggest artist that was coming out was.
And so, what was your first rap name?
I first started off, I wasn't even a rapper. Capone and Noriega, Cayenne, Holly. That's my first cousin. So growing up, me being in Flushing, I would go to Queensbridge for the weekend and go stay with him. And we both had DJ equipment, so we was both DJs. We was both DJs before we started rapping. And then going out to Queensbridge, being I was from Flushing, my name's Ramel. There was like two other guys named Ramel, so they started calling me Flush for Flushing. So as they broke it down, so yeah, so when the person be like, "Yo, Ramel's out here," they be like, "Which one?" So instead of them saying that, they be like, "Flush is out here," and you'll know it was me.
So then, how did you add the royal to it?
Gambling and women.
Gambling and women.
Gambling and women. Yes.
You want to elaborate on the women part? How did that?
Cause before the royal was in, I think then we was somewhere and I had like maybe there was like 4 girls in a hotel with one with me or something like that. And I was saying flush, 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 and they was like, "Oh, royal flush," and I think that came into play. And
Damn,
then
you was getting it like that? 4 of them?
I mean, you gotta realize that at like 13, 14, I probably had like $60,000, $70,000
Oh,
already from
damn.
street money. I'm already walking around with jewelry. I'm already driving a Jetta with rims on it. So yeah, I kind of grew up quick.
So being in the streets, hustling, right? You're such a young age. What is like, when did you learn that first hard lesson? Like, did you get locked up early on?
My first hard lesson was when the feds raided my crib and I wasn't home and they locked my grandmother up.
Oh man.
And my grandmother got in contact with one of the ladies' house I was at, and the cop said, "I'll let your grandmother go if you come home." And I said, "I'll be there in 2 minutes." So when I got upstairs to watch the feds in my house and raid my shit and find all the drugs in my crib and to see my grandmother arrested was kind of bugged out for me. So I told them to take the cuffs off of her and put them on me.
How old were you at the time?
14, 15.
I bet you nothing hurt more than that look of disappointment on her face, huh?
That was the worst. I couldn't breathe with that. That bothered me so much to see this lady that does so much for me in handcuffs.
Right. And so you're 14, you're going to juvie because selling narcotics, right?
Right. Well, no, let me tell a true story.
Okay.
One of my friends left his drugs in my house. I was kind of smart not to leave drugs in my house because I was with the older guys. Never, I used to put it in the incinerator room. But one of my friends spent the night before and left it in his sneaker. And when they raided my house, they found it in his sneaker.
Wow. So did you end up doing time for that?
Yeah. I did. That's when you're young. You do the 6 months, 4 months, 6 months probation or something like that. And my grandma was there on every visit. But you know, when you're young, you want to kind of experience jail. So it was like I wasn't scared to go. I wanted to be like, let me at least say I've been here one time. So it was a skid bid. Came right home, right back to the regular program.
What do you think about that mentality of like when you live in the inner city, it's almost like I can't wait to get to jail. Like, you know, like it's like almost like a rite of passage of being a man. Like when you think about it, right? Because you're a father now, like, and you have your kids, like to think that that's a state of mind that is being, you know, you're being conditioned with, like, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it was no other way to like let the streets know I'm that nigga. So you had to go through them trials and tribulations. Now all I need is the internet, and I could just look good on the internet and get 100,000 likes, and I'm that nigga.
Right.
But in my age, I had to. Y'all been to jail twice. What you got on me? You know.
So would
So
you
I
say
had to
like
prove
that's
a
kind of
point.
like a early stage of clout?
Yeah.
Right? Your reputation, right? It's kind of like,
Yeah.
oh, you don't want to mess with him. Like he done been to jail 2 times already. Right? Like,
And then I was so cool, like nobody knew what to expect. Like, cause I done did some evil shit. But then you smile with me and you don't know what to expect. So a lot of people didn't know what they was gonna get. So they just kept it one way with me. So like if a person owed me money, he don't know what's gonna happen if he owes me money. So he won't owe me money. You know, like a person don't want to beef, you're not gonna take my jewelry because you don't know what's gonna happen to you and your family. You know, some dudes out there, they let their hand out. You know what they're going to do. So you take that chance. With me, you don't know what's going to happen.
and what was that conversation like with your grandma when you got arrested? Like the disappointment, You know, like, was it like a guilt shaming, or like, how was that conversation?
No, she was gangster. I mean, she knew what I was doing, you know, because I was paying the rent. I
Oh,
was
okay.
paying her car note. I was buying her minks.
Damn.
so,
So
so
grandma
she
was
knew
in
what I
on
was
it.
doing. Like she was more calm about it than I was. You know what I mean? But she knew what came with the territory. I think I was more disappointed because I knew that it wasn't my drugs. And I think that's what bothered me because I played my hand right. I never got that lady in trouble. And it bothered me that there was a slip up.
Right. And what is your mom doing at this time?
My mom's in Florida with her father, which is my grandmother's husband. He retired and went to Florida. And my mother, you know, stayed with him and took care of him while he was there.
Was there any resentment that she wasn't there for you during that time?
Nah, that's my lady. I was happy every time. I made it work for me. I didn't hold no remorse. I wasn't never upset that my parents wasn't there. I never got mad. You know, I probably got mad sometimes because Christmas, you know, so because it was like me and my cousin lived together with my grandmother, and my grandmother would buy me something and my cousin something, but then my cousin had both his parents and they would come with Atari and everything and bikes, and I wasn't getting that. But I was all right. I just stole it from him.
Right. And then you started making money real early so you could buy it for yourself then at that point.
Anyway,
Right.
anyway.
So how did you end up meeting Mic Geronimo?
Mike Geronimo, as I'm hustling, like I said, my cousin, so that was good because my cousin I was talking about, I lived with, he played sports. He was like one of the best baseball little league players. He was a pitcher. He was on the traveling team, and Mike Geronimo was actually on his team with him. Mike Geronimo was nice. They was nice in basketball. You know, rest in peace. Mike's mom was like a beautiful person, so she kept him in the right lane. So them two was together. And then one day coming back from baseball practice, they was walking across the highway and they was with one of my other friends named Jamal, and he got hit by a car and died. And then once he died, they had the funeral and everything, you know, and that's when I got to really like meet Mike Geronimo and talk to him and all of that. But we he just knew I was a hustler. And then later on he got into the music. He started messing with Irv Gotti, but I'm still down the block hustling. I don't know none of that. And somebody came to me and was like, "Yo, son, you remember Mike?" Yo, and they played the song "Shit's Real," and I was like, "Oh shit, he's from out, yeah, that's Mike." And I just fell in love. And then I walked to his block and he wasn't there. And then the next day I went to the store and he was shooting the "Shit's Real" video. And when he was shooting the "Shit's Real" video, I was talking to him. And then if you look in the video, I'm the kid rolling the dice. That's how me and Mike got tight. And then he was like, "I'm doing a show tomorrow. Can you come?" I said, "Yeah, I'll come." And he said, you know, Irvin was supposed to come. And then that morning when he hit me, he said, "Irvin, can't show." So he's like, "You want to get on stage with me?" I said, "Yeah, let's do it." So when I got on stage, his label was there. And my charisma alone, before he got on the stage, the way I introduced him and the way I made the crowd get ready for him, or I made the crowd say, when I say Mike, y'all say Geronimo, his A&Rs and his label was there, and they never seen nobody like that. So once I did that show, Mike was going on. Mike was starting a promo tour maybe 2 weeks after that, and I was with him.
So they saw that star power in you real early on already.
Yeah, yeah. But they didn't grab me until now. Mike Geronimo throws out. Now we're doing Mike Geronimo's album. He do about 20 songs on there. I'm on 13 of them. On the Master IC, I'm on 13 songs, which probably like Ghostface and Ray. So now we go on a big tour. And as we're on a big tour, before I left, I put out a song called Rotten Apple. I just put it out. Now, when we're on tour, there's it's going crazy on Stretch and Bar Beat, though. It's going crazy on everywhere. So now we just finally get to maybe DC, and the label came, and the label came with a check. And it was like, "Yo, you know, we want to sign you or whatever like that." And I really didn't know why or whatever. But then when I got back to New York, I realized that every label was looking for me. Def Jam, Interscope, Universal. Because they compared me to the next Nas.
So you jumped too soon.
I jumped too soon, but I didn't. I'm on tour. Like, I should have known when I seen the A&R and the label mates come to the show on tour. Like, why y'all here with a check? I was like, why y'all giving me a check? So I should have figured it out then. But I was young. Like I said, they may have signed me for like 30,000. I might have had 30,000 in my pocket, but it didn't matter. I still signed it and did it.
Wow. So was there like any allure because it was the same label as Mike and you just kind of like, well, we already rocking together, so I might as well be on the same label as you two?
Well, when we both started, we was under the same management, George Rowan. So it was me and him. George Rowan, he had Children of the Corn. So it was like I was with Cameron. So it was us three artists. And then after Mike's first album, he found new management. And then we kind of like more, I'm doing my own thing. Nobody's putting us together. Your management want you to have your own identity. So they kind of kept him away from me and a lot of stuff. So I went and did my own thing. But we always been friends. But when you got different managements, you got to do what your management say.
Right. So, while he's doing his album, like, what is like the process of he's like finally telling you, yo, get on this song, the first song, and then it becomes 13 songs that you're on the album?
Well, I think when we did the Master IC album, we was booked in the studio for 30 days straight. And I think every song was what we did that day. Like I'm sitting, rest in peace, my man Uni. We sitting there. I'm like, I'm so high, you so high. I'll be getting money to the day that I die. That's how we came up with the hook, And then me and Mike, we went in the studio one day, and we both was just miserable, and we was like, everything must change. And then we did a song called Everything Must Change. So whatever the day went, like if you listen to Mike's album, the all the interludes is in a cab ride to the studio. You know what I
Wow.
mean? You know what I mean?
So, because we kind of glossed over it, but at the time that you met Mike, were you already like thinking, I want to get into rap?
No. I liked it. I always wanted to be out there. I always wanted to, have this take the light. So I thought hype man was cool. Wasn't nothing wrong with me being a hype man because I don't have to. I'm not all the way in, but I get the same benefits as Mike Geronimo.
Right,
If Mike Geronimo's hot, I'm hot. Like being with Mike Geronimo, like I watched artists come up under him. Like I watched DMX come up under him. I watched when we went to perform in North Carolina and Jay-Z opened up for us.
Wow.
So it was a bonus just being right next to the man.
I know Irv produced a few beats, right, on that album. What was the relationship like with Irv at that time? Did you have a relationship with him?
No, I mean I was cool with him. I mean, end of the day, niggas knew not to play with me. But I was cool with him. I just felt like Mike wanted to be with his people he grew up with. Irv's from Jamaica. Mike got some family from Jamaica, but Mike's from Flushing, so he wanted to be around us. And then him being around me, I come with about 15, 20 dudes. So he started hanging out with us. I know that started some interference with him, and then Mike always thought like Irv did Time to Build, shit's real, shit like that. But he wanted Pete Rock, he wanted Buck Wild, he wanted the Beat Miners, he wanted Easy LP, and I think Irv wasn't really with that. Irv wanted to keep it in the camp. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's how they fell out. But me and Irv was definitely tight, and that's when Irv went to Cash Money Click.
So wait, so you said that it caused some interference that you were coming around, but you said you and Irv were tight. So like, why would he feel some type
I mean,
of way?
we was cool, but at the end of the day, Irv don't have no more muscle. So now if Mike make a decision and I'm with Mike, we don't got to do what Irv say. You know what I'm saying? So like Irv say, be in the studio 5 o'clock, and Mike like, well, today I don't feel like the studio. And Mike probably before would have said, all right, I got to be there 5 o'clock. When I first started messing with Mike, we got to be there 5 o'clock. And once we started doing it, it was like, you ain't got to go nowhere, Mike. Fuck that. We all right. Let them do the song without us. We'll be there tomorrow.
So you was the
And I
bad
think
influence. You was the bad influence on
right,
him.
right, right. No, but these were all Mike thoughts. These are I just helped back it up. Mike, and like I never went to Mike and said, "Don't fuck with him. He's no good." No, these are all Mike decisions, and all I did was stand behind my man, no homo.
Right, right. Yo, but I mean, because people, what did you see as the dynamic between Mike and Irv though? Because like I felt like people were really disappointed to see that them have issues years later.
Yeah, I mean, I think they both could have handled it and just said they grew apart. Like it was never a beef. It was never nothing. Irv let Mike go, and then But one thing I know about Irv is that he has a mind, man. Like he's gonna get it some way somehow. So I didn't really want Mike to walk all the way away because then he did Cash Money Click on our label, and then he seen Ja Rule would be the top, and that's when he got around Russell Simmons and Leo Cohen, and he signed Ja Rule to Def Jam. And then I guess at that point, me and Mike is like, yo, Ja is winning, like you know what I mean. So I don't know if it was animosity for that, but they both walked away as men. It wasn't no beef. You know what I mean? The beef just started. I just found out about most of the beef on Drink Champs.
Right,
I
right,
ain't even
yeah.
thought about
So
it.
like what was your reaction when you saw that though? Like, weren't you
Y'all don't
disappointed?
see me. I'm there like, what the fuck? Like I didn't know all that. I didn't know all that. But all of that, even when you listen to both of them talk, it just sounded like bickering. Ain't nobody hurt each other. Nobody stole nothing from each other. So it was just more bickering.
So Mike never said anything to you like that made it seem like they was real serious, like they had problems like that. It was just kind of like we just going our separate ways.
Yeah, I guess at that point, because at that point, Mike know that the team he's with, we get it in. Me, my brother, everybody, his brother, everybody they around, we get it in. And at the same time, Irv Gotti is with Supreme Team. So I guess he don't want to clash the two. He want to keep us all family. So he didn't really let us know how he deeply felt about the situation.
You had a big reputation, like you said, in the streets, right? What was that like leaving the streets and going into the music business?
It fucked up my career. I would have been a bigger artist. Like I came out with Jay-Z. I had the mind of Jay-Z. Me and Jay-Z, we both had both our first singles had the Nas sample. You have a Desert President, Reverend Me, and my shit, Moving on Your Week production. So we was on tour together, we was doing everything, but I think some days, like one time I was on tour and something happened in our neighborhood where somebody got robbed. I just left the tour and got on a plane and went home. So I don't think I put my all into the music because it never gave me the money that I expected, or I didn't want to challenge and get the money because I was comfortable in getting the money the way I'm getting it. So I feel like I just didn't give it my all why I didn't become the artist I'm supposed to be.
So you had one foot in and one foot out, basically.
Actually, like I tell everybody, like, so giving 50% of anything ain't 100. So even if I'm doing two things, that's 50-50, and that equals 100, but I still ain't give 100 to one.
Did you ever feel that you fully transitioned out of the streets into the music business though? Like, was that like after the first album or?
Nah, I'm probably still here.
Okay. All right. But so Ghetto Millionaire comes out in 97, right? Take us through the process of making the album because it's a new experience for you. I know Mic Geronimo was on like 3 songs, NORE was on 2 songs, and you had Ja Rule too.
Doing the album was dope. It felt like being in the streets when it was time for me to do my album. I felt like once I went in the studio, I'm not in the streets no more. I'm at Great Adventures. I'm at Walt Disney World. So it just felt good. Like it gave me a chance to get out the hood. So I loved it. So I went in the studio. I just, any artist I did a song with, I had to actually meet you first. I didn't just send nobody a song. Or any producer, we had to sit down first. I always wanted communication with any artist I worked with. So the album was excellent. I mean, I did it. I did it. What in 3 months, knocked it out. And I said at that time when I was doing the album, I didn't want to be like the Wu-Tang was out, Mobb Deep is out, Nori's out, Onyx is out. Everybody's grinding. I wanted to be that fly nigga with it. So that's why if you listen to my songs, I got songs about still came home with a shine. I got songs about family problems, about my father beating my mother. You know, like I wanted to just give you a movie, and I think that's what separated me from a lot of artists because I could have talked that street shit more than any of these niggas because I'm living it. But I gave you the opposite. And then at that time, the people I was getting money for was kind of listening to my music to make sure I ain't fuck the family up.
You had that background for sure.
Right.
Right.
So I had to monitor my man. My music was getting looked over before release, and not by the label.
How people say that, rappers exaggerate, you really weren't exaggerating because you really had the reputation for it.
Right. Because I could have went Bloody Money. I could have went Who I Shot, Stabbed. But like I said, it wasn't just the label looking over my music. It was the people that I was dealing with was making sure I don't do nothing to fuck the family up.
Mm. So you said making the album got you out of the streets, right? It was exciting because it was something new?
Oh, it was way exciting. I'm in the studio. I got women here. I got beer. I got liquor. I got drugs. Everybody looks at me as a superstar. Like that was something that I always wanted.
But you had the reputation already in the streets, right? People viewed you in they admired you to a certain extent, right? But this is to a different level now because you're like a superstar.
Yeah. But then it was some of the people that was kind of scared of me. Now that I'm doing music, they feel a little comfortable talking to me.
Oh, okay.
So you know what I mean. So it got people that's around me that probably wanted to do business or even chat with me, but they didn't know how to approach me. But being that I'm a rapper, now they felt more comfortable talking to me.
You said that you had a song on there, right? Obviously, talking about your parents having domestic issues. What was that like for you watching that growing up? And do you think that it affected you in any way?
Yeah, because it was somewhat my story, but then it was also what I seen and what I witnessed. Or there was times I had to like go to one of my friend's crib, that lived down the hall from me and had to stop like his pop from beating his mom's up. So a lot of these stuff is stuff that I witnessed, like more like, like Nas or something looking out the window, even though you live around it, you don't have to go through it to understand it. So a lot of things that I said, as far as like that song in particular, like my mother probably would have shot my dad before I said I did on a song. But I did witness that. I did have to stop that from a lot of, relationships and a lot of families and a lot of friend members that was going through, that type of abuse at home.
What is that like though, as a child having to witness that, to see that happen?
I don't, because even when I went there and whatever they was going through, I don't know. Once they both talked to me, it was like, sit here, we're gonna make dinner. I just felt like I was the angel to misery. And I always say I think I'm an angel to misery. They say misery like company, but they scared of an angel. And I think I was an angel.
So you were able to calm down the chaos then?
In any situations. I done seen police running people's crib. I done seen cops choking out one of my friends, and I was able to tell a cop, chill out. He's all right. He had a bad day today. I just felt like I'm an angel to misery. I'm gonna just say that.
So that's your real superpower.
Yeah.
That's how you probably were so diplomatic with people, huh? It was like, it's not that big. Nobody got shot. Nobody died.
It's not that bad. It's not that bad. But there's also situations where I got to tell a person, you got to do what you got to do. I can't help this situation. It's past my limit, and my limit goes far. But if it's past my limit, I can't do nothing.
So, what do you how did you feel about the response of Ghetto Millionaire?
I knew it was a classic. I knew that. I knew that at the time, Mic Geronimo was working on his second album as I'm doing my first. And Mic Geronimo, that was their bread and butter. Steve Gottlieb, like they loved Mic Geronimo. That's their boy. And I felt like at that time, Mike just did the song with Puff. That song cost 100,000 just to get the beat. Then Puff wanted another 100,000 to to get in the video. You know, so I felt like they were spending a lot of money on Mike and not really focus on my project. But it worked. It worked because I'm still here 27 years later
Right.
with just one major album and that's it.
Yeah. We're gonna get into the other ones after this too. But
Right.
who did you meet in Terror Squad first, and how did that happen?
Fat Joe had a club. He had a club in the Bronx. He was promoting the club and he booked me and Mic Geronimo to perform. So me and Joe, we've always been tight. But then that night, me and Pun kicked it, and then the next day after the show, him and Fat Joe took me to a restaurant, I think Jimmy's.
Jimmy's Cafe. Yeah.
And yeah, Jimmy Cafe. And I always used to like steak. And then Pun was like, "You ever had twin lobsters? You ain't never had twin lobsters? You gotta get twin lobsters." And that was my first time having twin lobster tails. And then we kicked it.
Was it
Then
worth
maybe
it?
it was worth it. You know, I mean, I'm from the hood. I really didn't know nothing about seafood. Only time I had shrimp was in my egg roll.
Right.
You know? but that was amazing. And then you know, and then I told him I was, you know, still doing the album, whatever. Mike's doing it, and I asked him could he do a song with me. And at that time, Steve Rifkin, nobody wanted him. He couldn't do no features, and he snuck in that day and did mines. And then when you know, he told Steve Rifkin we could do it, but my second album never came out on TVT, so we never threw it out.
Right. What was your first impression of Joe?
Oh shit, me, a hustler.
Just
You
like
know,
you.
a hustler. I think we're the same person in two different boroughs.
Got you. Okay. And what was your impression of Pun?
Oh my God, you know, there's like three people I met that I can't like. Well, I guess four. So I'm gonna go Pun, Old Dirty Bastard, Big L, and Sean Price. Them three people, I don't, they love me, but the way they treated me was different from the world. So what I had with them is not how they treated others. They loved me. They would call me. They would check on me. They was my brothers.
But the first moment that you meet Pun, like, what are you thinking? You're like, yo, this guy's cool, or like, what do you like? Your immediate reaction?
Well, remember I took them to the studio, and you know at that time, you know,
Oh, I'm talking about the night that you guys hung out, though. The night that you guys hung out. Yeah.
No, dope. You know what? Because I think all the females wanted him, and he didn't give a fuck about it.
Did he have
So
any songs out at this time?
The twin song, both of
the
them
twin song,
back
the
and
deep
forth.
cover. Okay, got you. Yeah,
Deep cover, yeah. But I think he just women didn't excite him, and I thought having fame and jewelry and money that's what you supposed to excite was the women, and he was like the first person to say, "Man, fuck these bitches," and that mentality probably kept me a lot richer in life.
Wow. So you could tell that he wasn't phased by the fame of like the fake love from the women.
No. Only thing he loved Terror Squad. He loved what if his people looked it good, he looked it good. If Cuban or Sace looked it good, or Tony Sunshine, if they all looked it good, he felt good. So as long as his crew was good, he was good.
Were the other members there that night that you met Pun?
No. At that point, it was just more Fat Joe bringing him along as them too.
Got you. So there's this epic rare freestyle of you and the Terror Squad on Funk Flex, right? Going crazy on it. I'm talking you, Big Pun, Cuban Link, Triple Sace, I think Prospect too. How did that come about?
I wasn't supposed to be there. I wasn't ready. I was unprepared. I didn't. I mean, I was just happy to be up there. Like I said, I maybe said like two freestyles, but that was a Terror Squad moment.
No,
And
you did more than
I'm in my
two. I think you
lot.
did more than two, but you went in too.
I mean, the way I mean, I listen to it now. I'm like, you can just tell I got a bunch of jewelry on. I'm going on tour. They keep hitting the mic. but Fat Joe and Pun, because I was going on tour and that was like the only time they could have an artist. I could get up there because I was leaving, and Pun and Joe was like, man, tell Flush to come up now for a half hour before he go on tour. So I went up there. I just did a couple freestyles, got some hugs, and then I left on tour after that. I was gone for like 2 months.
But man, it's so epic that you were a part of that because you know now that Pun's not here and everything, it's like you were a part of that moment, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I said, even the four people I named to be in their presence, to be imagine, you know what it was for me to be a street dude, and I was such a fan of Big L, and Big L was a fan of mine. That felt like, you know what I'm saying? Like I always talk about like with pointing them with the twin lobster tail, but my first time really going to Harlem on like Big L, like when I went to Harlem, I went for the drug dealers, we went for Willie Burgers, we went for weed, but to go up there and actually hang out with fucking Big L all day and meet his brothers, that was an experience in life too. I learned how to have swagger. You know what I mean? Like each rapper gave me an element, and I definitely got a lot of swag from Big L. Just the way he talked was like smooth, so I kind of got that.
Right. Did you used to kick it with TS a lot?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, after everything started dying down, me and Cuban became real tight. Um, I try to make the peace between him and Joe, or just try to mention it. But like I said, that's one of them situations where it was way too far out my zone. I couldn't interfere with that.
Right. See, because you diplomatic. So like you of all people would seem like you would be the right person for that job, but even you, it was beyond you at that time.
I mean, I think if I was in the club that night, I could have stopped it.
Right. What was
Right,
your
I could have
reaction though
stopped
when
it.
you heard about what happened in the club?
I mean, when I first heard it, it was something about anybody disrespecting somebody's lady. I'm totally against. But then, there's also two sides to a story. So I was just trying to mediate and find out. But then when I spoke to Macho. That was Fat Joe's man, Mach. When I spoke to Mach and Mach gave me the details and the story, I just said I hope y'all are family, and I hope y'all just don't hurt each other, and I just left it alone.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate situation, man. I felt like because of Pun passing and because of that, TS never got to reach the full potential, of like what it
Yeah,
could
I
have
mean, but
become.
then you also you had Cuban. Cuban was more around Pun's wife, around Pun's kids, so he's feeling it. So you thinking nobody's doing nothing because you're still mourning, which which I understand. But Fat Joe still had love for Pun. Wasn't nobody not looking out for nobody. But I guess when you're there with the family, you take more to heart.
Well, what do you mean? Like, so you're saying because he was around the family, he took it more
Yeah,
personal?
I mean, at the end of the day, well, when friends or family members, pass, you can't just go lay down. You gotta still keep it pushing. Still gotta make it work. Still gotta make sure everybody's okay. Still gotta feed the family. So not that should hurted Joe to the full. Like it still probably hurt him to this day. That don't change. But he still had to keep moving. He couldn't just stay there every day in the house and mourn you know. So I think with Cuban being home every day and talking to his wife and they was looking at things wrong. Everybody's mourning, everybody hurt.
What did you? I mean, it's the Terror Squad story is just like it's so sensitive topic, right? Because what happened with like you said with his wife, with Liza and the kids after the fact and everything. And then of course you said that you was close with Cuban at one point. Like, how do you the politics? It's tough. It's tough to navigate through. Like, how do you deal with that?
It's just something I've been dealing with all my life. So it's regular. It's regular. Like I said, I know when I can be the angel, the misery, or I know when I got to just fall back. But I mean, that situation in the club was overheated. I know if Joe could go back, he would probably would never put his hands on him. But it is what it is. We all grown men now. We was kids.
Right, but so never did like Joe say, "Oh, you can't be cool with Cuban" or anything like that, or like Cuban never told you like don't be cool with Joe. It was just kind of like it is what it
Nah, you
is.
can't. I think it's my reputation. I don't think nobody can tell me that. I don't think nobody can tell me who to be friends with. I don't give a fuck who you are. You can't tell me who to be friends. I mean, but that'd be downgrading my job. My job is a liaison, a middleman. I got to talk to both parties to make an agreement or make a situation work. So I think nobody knew to come at me to tell me to pick a side.
Because you know how it is in the music industry. It's tough. It's like the politics, right? You know, it's like people don't want to get involved with other people's issues or stand too close to somebody. You know.
Well, one of my biggest supporters since I had the cancer is Fat Joe.
Right.
Like they check on me. They call me. They make sure I'm all right. I had like a little fundraiser. Joe donated sneakers to me.
Right.
Like,
I saw that. He did.
yeah,
Yeah.
like nah. I don't think nobody would like me for liking somebody else. I just think I don't come in between that.
Mm-hmm. Did you see Cuban? He had put out the shout out to you on IG not too long ago.
Yes, that's my brother. I be around him. We both was messing with my boy Chronic Care, and we would always be over there. Me and him got pictures together. I think somebody's selling a sweater or something with me and him on it. That's my brother. I speak to him once in a while. I make sure he's all right. And then you got to remember we both Cuban.
Right. Yeah. So you got that
right
connection
there keeps
too.
us together.
Do you have any untold stories about you and Pun or Cuban from back in the day?
Me and Pun hung out. I mean, it was one time something had happened, but I had to handle it. But I don't know. I don't know how the resource ends. I don't know if anybody got hurt, so I can't really mention that. But I mean, that was my brother. That was my brother. Remember, I caught him. Me and him got real tight maybe on the last year. You know what I'm saying? So maybe the last year before he went was like me and him was calling each other every day. But before that, we were just friends and just speak random.
But you don't have any like funny stories or anything that you can share about yet?
I mean, I mean, it's one I always tell. You know what I mean? I think I was doing the second album, a song I had called "Clap Your Hands," and I wanted him on it. So I came to the studio, and like I said, when you went to the studio back then, people get per diems. So you know what I'm saying. So my label had me a big per diem, and we about to rap, and then I came in the room. It's him, Cuban, says the whole terror squad, and I was like, "Yo, Pun, you hungry?" And I looked at everybody else, and he smacked me. He smacked, punch smacked me, and I'm crazy. So after he smacked me, I'm looking like, should I kill him? Like, what the fuck happened? And then I looked at the whole terror squad, and they all laughing. And then he looked at me and said, "How the fuck you gonna ask me for something to eat? Look how big I am. I'm fucking hungry. You know I'm hungry all the fucking time. If you ain't gonna feed me, who the fuck you gonna fucking feed?" And then we both started laughing. And then I realized that he accepted me at that point as family.
Got you. Okay. Because you're
You know
not
what I'm
just gonna
saying?
let
At that point,
anybody
he was
just
like,
slap you. Not
right. I mean, it wasn't nothing where, I mean, yeah, I did a little, it was like an Ike Turner hitting Tina. So, I mean, I did the whiplash, but it was because he's big. But it wasn't like hurtful, but it was like, nigga, you don't know. And I think that was when he said, at that point, plus you're my brother. All right, so that's definitely a funny story.
So that was during the Clap Your Hands studio session?
Right.
And what was tell us about that. Tell us about making that song. Like whose idea was that?
LES came to me with a beat. If y'all know who LES is, he did a lot on Nas. So he came to me and AZ, but he came to me with a beat, and it was In Jail, Fat Boys, In Jail. And he was like, "Yo, son, you got to get Pun on it as fast." I was like, "I get Pun on it," and he was like, "You got to get NORE on it." So I was like, "Damn." I said, "Okay, cool. I got NORE, but let me see if I get Pun first." And Pun came right to the studio. It wasn't nothing. He came to the studio, came in, he heard the beat. Back then it wasn't no Pro Tools. So it was a lot of punching. And you had to cut the tape, put it back together.
Oh
You know
yeah,
what I
because
mean?
that
But
time he was a lot bigger, so like his breath control wasn't
It was maybe one bar stop, one bar. But then after he did it, and then he's doing his ad libs. Now he could run through it, certain part, boom, 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 boom. So I mean, at that point, he was at his biggest. At that point, he was at his biggest. So yeah, it did take him a little longer to do the song, but the shit that he was spitting, you waited for it.
Right, right. When you started to notice him getting so much bigger and everything, right? Like, what is your reaction during this time?
I really can't give no reaction because he's on top of the world at this time. So you really can't tell a king what to do. You know
So
what I
you guys
mean?
never had any conversations about it? Like you checking on him, like you all right, you know?
When he went to like the fat camp or whatever, we spoke one time. But if you know Pun, he act like he had everything under control. He would never make you feel like he's hurting. So you wouldn't even know to comfort him. You wouldn't know that he's hurting. He would just be like, "What up, Flush? What's good, baby? You know what I'm saying? I gotta get the fuck up out of here so we can go get something to fucking eat." That was just his aura.
Got you. What was your reaction when you heard he passed away?
It hurt me. It hurt me bad. Because I don't know if that was like, you hear about Easy E and then right, like even Big L hurt me. But when you kind of like knew Big L's situation and know it was uncontrollable, like it was something that was meant for somebody else, where you can't. With him, it's like it hurt more because I was like, damn, we all should have helped a little bit more.
Hmm.
So yeah, it hit me different.
And you attended the funeral, right?
Yes.
What was that like, seeing him?
It was so much going on. There was so many people there. It was like it was two funerals I went to that was crazy, and that was Prodigy and his. Like that was unbelievable.
Can you do you have any other funny stories about Pun?
No, no, like I said, we got two street stories, but
Right, got
the
you.
cases
Yeah,
ain't
say less.
closed.
Can you tell us a funny story about Cuban Link?
Cuban's funny. Yeah, yeah. I mean, me and Cuban, we hung out like, I don't know if he's in a relationship. I'm married now, but a
Nah,
lot of
he's
our
not.
stories are
He's
sex
not.
stories.
Oh, you was running trizzies with him?
Yeah, like me, like, cause even though I'm Cuban, but I still look like a Moreno. I still look black. But being with Cuba, I got all my Cuban fantasies for the women. You know what I mean? So I definitely fuck with my boy. Well, man, he plugged me with some of the bitches that look like J Lo. I ain't never thought I could touch in my life. So thank you, Cuban, for giving me the best women in the world.
Wait, what year is this that this is happening?
And this is late. This might be late. This might be like 2000.
Oh wow. Okay, so after Pun has
Yeah,
passed already, then.
yeah. This right after Punt Pass.
So then you was this after the situation with Joe, or
Yeah.
okay? So after that, and then you guys are hanging out, and then you guys getting freaky with the girls.
Yeah, because he had like a studio. I don't know where. I think he had a studio. I think it was in Yonkers. I'm not sure, but I think it was in Yonkers. He had a studio, and every time I went there, there was some girls sitting on the couch for me. So
Oh, so he was filming he was recording Chain Reaction at the time, then the second album,
yes,
right?
yes. The bad part is that I did a song on that album, but I did so much stuff in the studio that night. I don't know if I erased it by accident. I don't know what I did, but
You did
yeah,
so
he was
much
working
what?
on that. I did a song on that album, but it was a couple girls in there. I
It's
don't
a
know if I
blurry
erased it.
night.
Blurry night, blurry night, but a great night. I
Right, right.
remember some of it.
Can you just because we don't really get to hear like these type of stories, I know the fans, they love it, you know what I mean? But can you describe what that time period was like at that time, when what you saw from when he's working on that album and you spending time with him?
Cuba's the life of the party. He never has a dull moment. I think even after he got his face cut and I talked to him, he was laughing about it. No, I really look like Scarface. Like he great guy, man. Like great man. And whether people know it or not, man, like I know him from putting some street work in too. So he was about that life too, man. So let's never forget about that. But a bubble person, man, he can make a dull moment exciting. So I love him.
But for you though, like because you love both of these sides, right? So like for you, just personally, did that hurt you just to see like your two brothers like going at it though?
Yeah, I mean, but early in the game, once I spoke to both of them and realized there was no resolving it, I just felt like let me just have my different relationship with both of them and not think about what they did to each other.
Got you, got you. So there's a long gap between the first album, Ghetto Millionaire, and then Street Boss, right? The second album,
Yeah, it mixtape. Yeah,
Street album, right? Pretty much.
street out, street
Yeah.
out.
What is the reason for the gap?
At that time, me and Mike Geronimo came to me and said he wanted to get off the label, and he had went up to the label and started taking all his stuff. And I was at home, and he called me, and I went up to the label and did that. And the label had dropped both of us. At this time, I done been in Chicago. I did songs with Twister. I got songs with BG and Juvie. I got MOP. I got Pun on it. This album was coming along so crazy, but the label had dropped both of us. And when we first signed our contract, I didn't realize that I signed my life away. So I couldn't do nothing. You know, like when people don't realize when they come and they give you a $50,000 check, that's for 7 albums. You
Wow.
know, and when you sign to 7 albums and you don't want to be on that label no more, that means you still owe them six. How's that going to work?
So they just gonna fuck you from then.
That's it. They don't give a fuck what I do. I just can't throw nothing out. Steve Gottlieb, you know, he had millions. He had a lot of money. So as long as I ain't do nothing, so I can make money, he was fine with it. As long as he don't make money, and I don't make money, he's good with it.
So then, but around Street Boss, you also had Hood Stories, right?
Yeah, yeah. Those are just albums that I was just putting out. Like some of them, I think I probably put the Big Pun song on there, the MOP song on there, you know, the Big L song on there. So, because now I can't do nothing with these fucking songs because they under him. So yeah, I just started throwing shit out like that, man. But it wasn't an album effort. These were just songs I did with people and I'm just putting out.
And then The Message, right?
Wow, yeah.
I know my
No,
shit.
those,
I know my shit.
those are just songs I'm just putting out. You know, like you might hear Worldwide, Ice Diamond Dying on some of those, or Interludes. It was just to be active. I don't know, that was it. But it wasn't. I still haven't did a full album to myself like that Ghetto Millionaire, like Ghetto Billionaire that's coming out. That's a different story.
Oh, you got something in the tuck?
Yeah, Ghetto Billionaire is coming out. I mean, I can tell you some of the features now. I mean, as far as like R.J. Payne, Lord Banks, I mean, we can get into a lot more
Oh,
producers
you
and P
got the
Rock.
real spitters on there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you know, you got the P Rock, you got the Premiers, you got the Lost Professors, you got the Buck Wow. But I mean, Ghetto Billionaire is coming soon.
Dude, you flexing on them right now.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So after that, right? You take another long break from putting out any kind of music, right? What happened during that time? Like, how are you doing personally?
I'm still in the streets. I'm still, like I said, that probably was my problem. I never gave 100 to music like I was supposed to. So I never left the streets alone. So I mean, I just stayed in the streets. I love music. I was able to go out. I still fit the part. I still had the big chains on. Still could spit. Anybody looking for a feature, I get on their shit and destroy it. So I just maintain it. Then you know, like Tech from Smith and Wesson, that's like my brother. So anything that was going on, or thing, anything that was going on, they just kept me in a loop. They kept me a part of it. So I just held on, you know, like that.
Did you try to get off the label at that point? Like, was there any way to resolve it during that time?
Nah, wasn't nothing really me and Mike could do. But you know, a couple years ago, the label folded. So the Orchard took all our masters and we got a lot of our back end, me and Mike. So yeah, I got a lot of back end. Like I didn't realize that my album went gold.
Wow.
Yeah, my album was gold. Mike Geronimo album was platinum.
So wait, so
'Cause
now you're able to put out music however you want, right? You're not tied to a contract anymore.
I could do whatever the hell I want now. That's why Ghetto Billionaire, I'll be a billionaire off of it.
I bet you that freedom felt so good.
Yes, yes, yes.
You're like, I'm glad you
It did.
motherfuckers folded.
Folded. God damn it.
y'all been
At
having
that
me
point,
shackled for how long? You're like,
yeah,
I'm
because
glad y'all
you,
folded.
you free. And you remember, if Mike signed 95 and I signed 96, we was shackled for a good 10, 15 years.
Wow. That's crazy. Yeah, is Mike going to be on the album Ghetto Billionaire?
Yeah, he's on it. He's on it. He's on it.
I think people love.
There's a lot more names, but I'm gonna keep it quiet. I'm gonna keep, I'm gonna throw the album out like your first album. You can read the back and see the features, the credits, the producer who engineered it, who mixed it. So I'm doing it like that.
Yeah, I think people love seeing you guys together because they know like how real the brotherhood is. You know,
That's my brother, and what I'm going through, man. Some days I had to wake up and call him and say, "How's the cancer doing?" Because it hurted him more than it hurt me, and he would call me every day, and that's my heart, man.
Yeah, I saw something where you said that like when he found out, like he just broke down into tears.
Yeah, yeah. Cause I mean, when I first found out, man, I waited. I felt it for a year, so I was just ready to die. Like I felt all the lymphomas in my body. I knew it was no helping me. I knew I didn't go look for help. I just, at that time things was going wrong in my life, so I was just ready to give up. But then, like watching Mike and Capone and my brother and my family, I said, "Fuck that! I'm fighting."
Yeah, man. So take us through that, right? I was gonna ask you this later, but since we on it, you were diagnosed with lymphoma cancer, right? Is it Hodgkin's or non-Hodgkin's?
No, it is, and it's also it's also chronicle. Like, it doesn't leave. I can never beat it.
Okay.
It's in my blood. I can never beat it. All I can do is maintain it. So like I said, the lymphomas, so a lot of people they get like 10. Like I said, I had 100 and almost 80 of them, 100 and change going through my body. So it was, when I first seen the doctor, she looked at me like, get ready to say bye to your family. And I was ready to. And then, Mike and them helped me with it. And then the doctor was like, listen, if you want to live, you got to start chemo tonight. And I was like, I don't want people to see me skinny, losing my hair. So I left. I snuck out the hospital. I left the hospital. So fuck that. Let me just go home and die and kiss my kids. And Mike Geronimo and Capone and my brother came and got me. I went to a video shoot after I left the hospital, then went home.
You crazy. You crazy.
But
What's a
matter of
video
fact, the
shoot?
same day I left the hospital, the doctor said I could die soon. I went and shot a video with Capone.
Wow. So
And then
take us through that though, right? Take us through like when you started to feeling like something was wrong. Like what is your reaction during that time?
When I first felt it, I felt like little lumps on me. And then it was a big lump that got real big and it was like under my arms and I was able to move it. And then, you start thinking to yourself, like when they say a woman, if a woman feels a lump in her breast, check it could be cancer. So I felt like a couple lumps. So I knew it was cancer before my doctor told me. And now I'm getting ready to go to Queen's Day in Atlanta because I was hosting a lot of parties. And my doctor called me right before I got on the plane, an hour. She was like, "Can you come in?" And I was like, "Well, I'm about to get on the plane." She was like, "Well, cancel that flight and come in because it's detrimental to you." And I said, "What, I got cancer?" And she just got quiet. She was like, "But I can't say nothing. Just come in." I said, "I'll see you when I get back." And I hung up and I went to Atlanta. I had the party. So I would go there. I would go in the club. I would order 10 bottles. And then for some reason, I'll sit down and be like, I'm about to die. So it kind of messed my mood up. So as soon as we got back, that's when all that happened. We went in the hospital. She showed me a paper of all the tumors in me, and I was like, well, let me just go home and die. And And then I went home. Then Mic Geronimo and Pone brought me back, and she was like, "Listen, we're gonna start chemo right now." I said, "Right now?" They brought me in and did a double dose of chemo, and that was it. Then I started having. Then that's when my body started changing from that point on.
What is your reaction when she says get ready to say goodbye? Like how do you receive those words?
She didn't actually say it in that form because I guess as a doctor she can't. But she was like, you could just look on her face because first of all, she was a doctor that beat. Every patient she had, she never lost. And when I first came in there, she wasn't my doctor. And when she read my diagnosis, she took on the challenge. And when she came in the room, she was like, "I'm not gonna lie to you. This is my toughest challenge. It's not looking good for you or me." So that right there was to let me know, like, she said, "But we're gonna start chemo tonight." I said, "Tonight?" She said, "We're gonna start it right now."
Can you take us through the conversation that you had with Mike when you told him?
I still was arrogant. I still was like, "Man, fuck that. Let me just go, yo. Let me just go." And then, watching
But
one
you
of your
called
friends
him,
that
like you just called him and said, "Hey, I got something to tell you," or like,
no, no, I don't even know how they got there. It must have been my wife was in the hospital with me, so my wife must have called some people. My wife must have called my brother, and then my brother must have called like Capone and Mike.
but at this
Two
point you
people
didn't
he
tell
know.
anybody yet that you had cancer.
No, I walked out the hospital and went to go shoot a video. But but my wife knew. So my wife went home crying, but I jumped in a different car and went to the video. So while I'm shooting the video, I'm on my part, I'm shooting it, and then I could see Pone on the phone, and then I could see his head drop. And I knew that my wife must have just told him. So he came in there, he said, "Everything all right?" I said, "Yeah, I'm fine, bro, I'm good." And then, I could see the tears in his eyes, and then, he said he knew it was wrong. So then they was like, "You know what?" I was like, "Man, fuck that, man. Let me just die." So they was like, "Yo, we going to a club." I said, "We going to a club? Fuck it, let's party." So I jump in the car, I'm drinking, smoking. Then when I look up, I'm in front of the hospital. But I still didn't go that night. I said, "Man, fuck that. I'm going home. I'm gonna die. Let's go to this club." So I'm still partying. And then like 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning, Mike Geronimo, Capone, and my brother came to my house and said, "Where you want to eat at?" And I picked my favorite restaurant, and they said, "After we go here, you got to go in and start chemo." So we went, took my family, we ate. After the dinner, I kissed everybody, and I went to the hospital. They walked me in. Doctor took me. They had security with me because they know I like to escape, and we started chemo.
How has your body been responding to the chemo? I know that you just went on your 8th round, right?
Yes, I mean, because that's all my body could take. Chemo was the worst. My first dose, my hands couldn't move. I couldn't pick up a fork or eat. My second dose, I couldn't smell nothing. My third dose, I stopped seeing. My fourth dose, I needed help using the bathroom. Then maybe in my fifth dose, there was a lot of things going on in my body because I was taking so many pills. Then we got to my eighth dose, which was my last dose because my body can't take chemo no more. So now that I haven't did that, I got to wait 4 weeks to do a PET scan. But now what's happening with my body is having withdrawals. It's looking for the chemo. So now I'm going through something reverse because now my body wants chemo. So now if I wake up and I'm not hungry, it's because my body says, "Give me some chemo first." So now I'm going through the same thing backwards. But I'm all right though. I'm all right.
Yeah, the thing about chemo is like it's not only killing the cancer cells, it's killing like your normal healthy cells too. So that's why you
Yeah.
have like the side effects to it, right? Um, has it been difficult for you from a emotional and mental standpoint? Like, what has this battle been like for you?
I have to talk to some people. Some days I wake up and want to give up. Some days I want to fight. Yeah, it's a whole roller coaster ride. Some days, like I said, some days I can wake up and I can see. Some days I can't see. Some days I can feel. Your first couple of rounds of chemo, like me, I'm a fucking porn star. There's no sexual reaction when you're doing chemo. You're not horny. Your dick don't get hard. You don't feel like yourself. And I feel like loving on something keeps me going. So it was rough, but getting up every morning and looking at my kid's face gave me a fight. But then when they went to school, sometimes I wanted to give up the fight. But then when they come home, I'm ready to fight. So I just been dealing with a lot of mixed emotions, but I'm still here
It's just a roller coaster, right? Just like up and down. Like it
completely.
depends on the day. Depends on the day.
Today, like today, I was okay. Then it started raining, and then I felt miserable. So it all depends what the day brings.
And how do you feel about the support that you've received from the hip hop community or from like Mike and other people that you know?
Um, I still was in a goal where I still wanted to give up because a lot of my giving up was because I felt like I didn't make it in music the way I was supposed to or what I deserve, or the other artists out there don't look at me like I'm like I want them to look at me. So a lot of my mind and my body was giving up because I felt like I wasn't appreciated in the hip hop. And then my wife was like, "Yo, do a GoFundMe." I'm like, "Fuck that! I got money. What the fuck I'm doing a GoFundMe for?" She was like, "Nah, but the bills, the this and that." And I'm like, "But I don't want people to judge me. I'm the governor." She was like, "Fuck that." So she did it on her own. And then I started getting calls from Rosenberg. I started getting calls from Premier. I started getting calls from Envy. I started getting calls from people I didn't even know. 50 Cent said, before niggas knew what a real nigga was, it was Royal Flush. Like, that type of shit made me want to fight. So I said, these are all phone calls. Let me do like a fundraiser and let me ask people. Man, Havoc, Conway, I'm talking about, Benny Siegel, Freeway. I mean, everybody said, whatever you want, Flush. And I think from that point on, I've been wanting to fight.
You said that you feel like you didn't do what you felt that you were supposed to do in music, right? Like maybe you didn't have the impact that you wanted. But when I hear Conway, I hear the influence from you though. Like, do you
Oh
not
yeah, I
get
mean
that?
those are my shit. I mean, because shit, where he live is rough. I went out there to try to get some money. It ain't easy. It ain't easy. They send you right back home. But I mean, he understands it. He understands it, man. And like I listen to their music all day because that's my type of music.
Right, right.
But I'm quite, and like he told me he was a fan of me before even while he was doing his shit. So or even have like to have like people that call me like Grand Pooba and Rakim. I'm like, I'm a fan of y'all, and and for y'all to call and check on me was like amazing, man.
Right. So it's almost like your second hip hop childhood, almost like feeling like it's coming back. No, like you got
Yeah,
those.
yeah, but then sometimes you look in the mirror and you say, you want to give up. You say, are they only doing this because you got cancer? So I still fight with my emotions so much, man.
Yeah. How how have you noticed the changes in your body since you started receiving treatment?
When I first was getting treatment, like I lost all my hair, my nails turned black. If you can see that my nails is black. Like my face started turning black, everything turned black, and I didn't have no mustache or nothing. And then after I did this last chemo, I started seeing my hair grow, my nails got lighter. So I feel good now. I smile. I think I'm coming back to myself, but my body is used to the chemo, so my body's acting up inside, but I feel good outside.
Are you considering taking like any alternative treatments or anything?
Well, maybe like 3 weeks ago, I went to Jamaica to a healing resort. And I went to a healing resort where when I went there, you got to leave your phone. There's no TV. There's no nothing. You just go in there. You're meditating. You taking hikes. You walking, and everything's liquid. There is no meat. There is not. So that was a healing process that was necessary. So I think I'm trying to do everything to fight it. I'm not just sitting home. Rest in peace. I went to my friend's funeral yesterday, and we both had the same cancer, but he didn't make it. And I'm still here.
Right. Um, I'm sorry for your loss, man. That's
Thank you. Thank
terrible,
you.
and especially because of what that kind of symbolizes, the possibility for you, because you guys have the same, that.
Yeah, I mean, with his situation, he was more. Mine's is to fight. His was he didn't want to. He didn't want to hurt his parents. He didn't want his parents to suffer. So it was like he wanted to go to stop his family coming up to the hospital, having to feed him, having to wipe his ass. Like, so he let himself go. I just refused to do that.
Right, right. Yeah, it's hard, it's hard to be less than what you were, right? Because, like, especially I feel like as a man, because of, we got that ego. It's like kind of like, nah, we got to be able to take care of it. Like you, especially if you're so used to taking care of everybody else, you're so used to getting everything done, and then having to ask somebody to do something like that, it feels like, like, but
No,
you.
it feels the worst because when I first started, my own wife and my daughter had to do everything for me. My daughter's 13 and my son is 7. They waited till nobody was in the house and they sat down and they was like, "Dad, you do everything for us. Let us do some things for you." And I said, "Okay." Because I felt that I used to get up in the morning and take my kids to school every day. I get them dressed. I cook dinner. I'm the man of the house. And when I wasn't able to do it, I just wanted to give up. And my kids said, "Nah, it's our turn to do it. Let us do it." And I love them for that.
Yeah, man. Kids, just such a blessing, you know what I mean? And what you see, obviously you've been a good parent because you were able to teach them that. What has the conversations been like with your kids?
To them, they celebrate. And they, like I said, when my wife had to sit down and let them know and prepare them for the worst and the best. So my wife ain't just come home and didn't say nothing. She let them know that the doctor said Daddy might not be able to live too long. And it hit them. And I don't think my daughter really listened to that. Like, Daddy not gonna live too long. She just didn't believe it. So every morning I would get up and take them to school. And once I started doing chemo, I couldn't see. So my daughter said, "Get up, get dressed, and sit in the passenger seat and take me to school every day while mommy drive." So my kids made me keep my same pattern. So they never let me sit down and fall.
So they included you still, in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
regular
right. They didn't just let me
activities,
sit in the bed. Right.
and
So
you raised a great daughter because you could see that she's really strong, like in that way of like, nah, I'm not listening to what the doctor
yeah,
said.
yeah,
No,
she didn't believe it.
yeah,
Nah, she
definitely.
didn't. Even if like I used to cook a lot, so if my wife started cooking, she'd make me get up and sit in the kitchen and watch her cook, to act like I'm still doing it. So she just kept me going, man.
You know, I'm sure that you've seen this experience. You've realized how much your mental health is connected to your physical health, and how your feelings of when you have hope, it actually gives you more of a chance of being able to survive. Because sometimes
Yeah.
people just give up and then they allow it to happen.
Well, I understand why people give up, and I think that's why I'm here to like leave a message, like, because I think people keep it to themselves. Because the worst thing you want to hear while you're going through this situation, someone don't care or someone doesn't look out for you. Depression is the worst enemy to cancer. Like, if you depressed, you going. You going. So if you got cancer, you need that build up, man. And a lot of people, I think they don't say nothing. They sit home, they hide. Nah, me, I'm letting everybody know I got cancer. What's up? How we gonna beat this? Y'all gotta go fund me. You put some money in there. I had to just build myself up to that. But a lot of friends that I had that had cancer that passed is all because they just sat home and they didn't fight and they just gave up and they watched their skin go and their hair and I just can't do it.
Exactly. See, because you got the right state of mind that you're not letting up. You're not letting go. Um, But during this time, have you done anything where like having like a bucket list of like, just trying to live life more to the fullest, like doing new activities or anything?
No, I'm just doing everything better. Like now, my doctor just cleared me. I can, I'm able to get on a plane. I'm able to get back in the studio. Before she didn't, like I did the fundraiser, and she told me don't rap because my lungs ain't strong enough to hold it. So, it was just a lot of things I couldn't do. I could do now. I'm fortunate. I feel good. I'm happy. I'm back in the studio working on Ghetto Billionaire. Every artist I'm asking for a feature ain't asking me for no money. They just sending it right back. So it's
Oh, I
cool.
know Conway's on the album. I know
I
he
didn't want
on
to
the
mention
album. I
that. I didn't
cannot
want to.
I cannot
That's
wait
another
to
one.
hear you guys together. Oh my God, man. That's gonna be crazy.
Yes.
So through the Queens connection, right? You had a relationship with 50 Cent too. How did you meet 50?
I think me and 50 would have been tighter, but at the time I came out with Mic Geronimo and that Herb and all that shit started. 50, 50 when that was my, like he used to come live with me. He used to stay in my crib with me. I used to go with him and hang out in his grandmother crib. But I was with Mike, but I wasn't with Irv and Mike and that they was different crews. I'm from Wastelands, but I think his decision.
You met him from the streets, or how did you meet him?
Yeah. No, we met in the streets. He used to get money, and I mean, he knew my reputation. I knew his reputation. A lot of the big dogs out there, they used to give me work. From Flushing, I used to handle my part. So we knew each other, but then we knew each other from the music too. Like when he went to Track Masters, you know, we just knew about each other. And then at that time, he was going through his little shit, just leaving Jam Master Jay and all of that going over there. He had just did the song, the Rob song, where he's robbing everybody, and everybody didn't like him. But I'm still a street nigga, so he hung around me. And I think like after the shooting and all that, he just didn't know who to trust. So me and him kind of fell out. We just, but he knew I had nothing to do with it. But then maybe a couple years ago, I went up to This Is 50, and me and him hugged each other, and we just went through a whole bunch of old reminiscing. Yeah.
Wow. So like, you guys had like a real fallout, or just like you drifted apart?
No, we drifted apart. I mean, he knows me from coming out with Mike Geronimo, and that's Herb Gotti, and that's Supreme
And then you
Team.
had Jaw
So,
on your album too, and
and I had John Howard, right? I didn't think about that one, but right, yeah, right.
When was the last
But
time that you spoke to him?
anytime. I mean, like I got his number now. I could call him. I could say what up. What I mean, I could do whatever. His main thing is just like beat this flush and then come to me. So as soon as I know I'm a little good, I'm trying to get one of them episodes on
That's what
Star.
I was
I'm
just
getting.
about to say. I was like,
I,
50, if you watch this, we need Flush in a row on Power, BMF, one of these million joints that you got going on. And he gonna act real natural. It's gonna be natural for him. It's gonna be like nothing.
Yeah, like I was, as kicking it, what's going on with him. They're actually doing when Ghost and Tommy was young. So that's like, right. So I'm gonna see if I can get in that, man, because I'm feeling a lot better to my health. So I will give him a call and ask for audition.
Yo, man, they gotta get you on that. I'm gonna be so happy for you when I see that.
Thank you, bro.
Yo, it's amazing, right? For you to, man, Queen's got so much talent. Like you guys got so much talent there. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy. But for you to watch him and his rise, like how has that been like for you? Because you've seen so many different stages of his career.
You ever meet somebody and know that they're gonna be a star, and just his aura, just his everything. I know he's gonna be a star. Like when I first met Cardi B, forget the raps. She was rapping, but she was on the Hip Hop of Love show and all that. But I looked and said, "Nah, she's gonna be a star, bro." So he had that aura to him. You knew he was gonna be something, man. You knew it, and his talk and his drive, and I just knew it. But I guess some people got to go through what they go through. He went through 9 shots to be, to get his shit. Maybe I had to go through cancer. So fuck it, it's my turn now.
Do you remember like your reaction when you heard that he got shot 9 times?
Hell yeah. I mean, cause you got to remember, Shy Money, his producer at the time that did everything. That was my man. He's on my album. He's on my first album. He's on my first album and did 2 songs for my second album. So I knew where 50 was. I knew where crib he was in when he got shot. I knew where they were staying at. Like I knew everything. And then me and Yayo was just cool from the streets. So I still speak to Yayo, once a month. We just check in.
Flush, Shaw Money does not get the credit he deserves. His production, he does not get the credit he deserves, man.
Yeah, I think with him, he just, and I think people should be forgiven for their mistakes, especially as a young kid. I think he just made the wrong mistakes. Dealing with 50, like I said, 50 was so ahead. 50 had plans for today back then. So, when he went to Shot Money, it was like, yo, you want some of the company or you want some money right now? Shot Money was supposed to take the company instead of the money.
Right. Because I remember hearing about him billing like the studio time to Interscope instead of like, going to 50 and being like, yo, can I get a point off the album or something? You know what I mean?
No, 50 was giving him that. 50 was giving him 2 points off the album.
That's crazy though. But with 50 did make him the president of G Unit and everything. Like yeah, man.
I mean, 50 loved him because when 50 got shot, Shot Money was like going to get a suit, making sure his wife ate. He did everything. Drove hours back and forth to make sure he was all right.
Was 50 always that funny though? Because like that's his low key thing. Like people know him to be aggressive and everything, but he is like hilarious. Like I'm surprised he hasn't done like a funny romantic comedy or some type of thing. You know what I mean? Like,
nah, he's always been funny, and that's been his charisma because his funniness. But then I guess after getting hit 9 times, now if you funny and you convert that same energy towards now I'm that nigga and I don't give a fuck, then you're gonna get the same energy out of both sides. And I think he fell in love with that. Like you gonna fear me and I'm gonna make you laugh. And I'm gonna disrespect you and you gonna fear me. Like fuck it. He found it. He found it.
Because I know you see his IG post and you be like, this motherfucker's crazy.
Because somebody hit me and said, Flush, you probably the only person he said something nice about in the last 2 years.
Right. Every time something happens, it don't matter how cool he is with the person, he'll comment on it and it'll be like a meme. It'll be funny. I saw this interview where you said you and NORE battled back in the day, like rap battle. Can you break that down? Because I've never heard you do it in detail, like how it went.
We was just getting cool. Like me and NORE, we from like 2 different. I'm from Flushing, he's from Left Crack, and we always had beef with each other. And then after doing the songs, we was together. Like some of his niggas shot some of my niggas went at some of his niggas. Whatever. But then I had a party at my crib, and he brought all his Left Rack niggas, and I had all my Wasteland niggas. And we was just in the room getting high, and it was like, okay, cool. That person, Mussolini battles this person. You know what I mean? Shows battles this, So it went with like three of them. One of them go, one of them go, one of them go, one of them go. It was dope. It was peaceful. One of my friends was getting a little disrespectful, so I had to show NORE and his crew I got my dudes under control. So I actually had to had to check one of my friends and be like, my nigga, what's up? Like, these are my peoples, you know what I mean? And NORE seen how I held my crew together. And that was it. After that, I think we all went somewhere and ate, chill. But it was dope. It was just like one-on-one. Everybody just did like a verse real quick. So nobody know who won, nobody know who lost, but it was definitely a good experience.
Don't lie, Flush. You know you beat him, right? You did, right?
It was a tie.
It was a tie. That's not politically correct answer. Wait, so it wasn't personal rhymes. It was just like who could spit the best verse, pretty much?
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. And I think me and him, like we working on music, so I think maybe he spit one of his something he had on the album. I spit maybe something we've never heard, but it was just fun. That was another thing you got to remember. Like I said, I'm from a neighborhood where we wanted to kill each other. So for me to even bring that together was a glorifying night.
That's that diplomatic ability right there.
Yes, it is.
So it wasn't on the level of like URL, back like I
No,
slapped your
no,
mom and
no, no.
no.
It was like, okay, he's with his four mans that rap. I'm with my four mans that rap. We put them in cat. Okay, y'all two are newer, y'all younger. You know, we try to just match it, and then we did it.
Got you. Okay. Did you ever do any battle rap on the street back in the days?
No, but DNA is my man. Like DNA is another person. When he found that I had cancer, you know, it made sure he flew out to come see me. Made sure he keep giving me money, checking on me. So I always wanted to do it. So one time I told him I wanted to do it. So we was gonna make it happen, but I just feel like there's really like I don't know. There's really nothing you can say about me. What you gonna say? I'm an old school rapper. Like that's all you can say. Besides that, I got everything under control. So I think a lot of people probably wouldn't battle me, or they probably would want to monitor what they say about me. And I'm not gonna let battle rap let a person talk to me the way that they don't normally talk to me. So they probably wouldn't want me to do it.
Yeah, because I was gonna ask you, do you think that you can? Because you know, people get crazy disrespectful. They're like, "I did this research on you," you know, so and so from your hood said this about you, and you know, they start going with certain angles, and it gets real disrespectful.
Oh, it does. And then with me, there's really nothing to find. So you're gonna turn something small and lie about it. So a lot of that shit you sitting there rapping to me, I know it's lies, but the audience don't know it's lies. So now I gotta punch you in your face. So I'm probably not a good battle rapper.
That's that's what Cuban told me too. He was like, "Yo, I don't think I could do it because." And he's a battle rap fanatic. Like he watches it like all the time, right? But he's all like,
Oh, me too. I know everybody from the women on.
but he's like, I don't think I could do it because I don't know if I could control myself from snuffing somebody.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think the main part is just letting you go, and I can't do nothing but look at you
Right.
while you disrespecting me. I think I can't take that.
And you know, most of the time, it's not like there's like a boundary in between that you can't cross this line. Like physically, like you know, they in your face spitting at you, like you know, spitting in your face. So
I mean, I know I would have an advantage because I know who I am and I know what type of money I got. I probably could pay for information I'm not supposed to have. So I know I could get something on whoever I'm battling. I get something you did that nobody ever knew, but I get it from your mother or your sister. But I don't, I just try to stay away from it.
it's probably better flush.
Yeah, I think so. I agree. I agree.
So you've been in these streets, and I'm sure you've encountered life-threatening situations, right? How does that compare to what you're experiencing now with cancer?
Um, and I won't lie. I tell the public, I could have did 10 years in jail. I got shot 10 times before I had to deal with this cancer. This cancer was something that I wasn't ready for. I thought I could take the world on until God said, "There's cancer." So yeah, I don't think there's nothing in my life that can compare to what I'm going through now.
Do you feel that it was? Do you feel like it's been a humbling experience?
Yes, yes, totally, totally. I mean, it made me quit a lot of things. Like I used to smoke cigarettes a lot. Don't do that. I used to eat a lot of bad food. Don't do that. So yeah, it has been.
But you still smoke weed, though, right?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Well, no. Well, I guess you got more of an excuse now, right? Because you got the cancer. So.
But so I came to my doctor and my doctor was saying to me, she was like, a person with chemo doesn't get an appetite. You lose all your appetite. So they gave me like weed pills. That
Oh,
shit don't give me the munchies. Then they gave me like some liquid I put on my tongue. That didn't give me the munchies. So I just started smoking and having the munchies. And she was like, I'm not gonna tell you to keep doing it, but I ain't gonna tell you to stop.
he was like, Doc, I'm gonna have to go back to the old school way. I can't do this new shit you guys do.
So now when I do it, what's that? Where is that? Where is that? Where the camera? Oh, yeah, you see the hash?
Ooh.
Yeah, I smoke hash. I smoke the best weed in the world. Like so
How do you
now
roll
I
it?
just smoke
How
the
you like
best shit.
rolling it?
Me, I was on a paper for a minute because she didn't want to use no tobacco, but now there's like kind of papers that's tobacco free that I like using. The joints is cool, but the way I smoke, them shits don't never burn right. I That's one thing I ain't pick up from the Jamaicans, how to roll a joint.
So you don't like bongs or anything like that?
I like bongs, but those are one hitter quitters. I think weed to me is more of a relaxation. It's more of a mental thing. So to keep smoking and keeping that, yeah, it
You
keeps.
like the actual experience, the ritual, kind of like the rolling it up, like, you know. I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I mean, but I done been to some bong parties where I've been stoned, but that's like one hit and I'm smoked 30 blunts. I don't like that. I'd rather smoke 30 blunts.
You fuck with edibles?
I can't fuck with edibles because I'm diabetic and it's too much sugar.
Right.
So I never could do the edibles. And then the edibles, I don't know when it's going to hit me. Weed, I say, okay, I smoke, I'm hungry. Edibles, I eat it, and that should hit me 45 minutes later and punch me, and I wasn't ready.
Right. That should be like, man, this shit is weak. It's not strong. I'm gonna keep eating some
Give
more.
me another one.
I'm eating some more. Next thing you know, your ass is stuck on the couch.
It's over. It's good night.
It's nighty night. Yeah. And you know how, like, when you smoke, like, you get the immediate high right away, right? Like the edible keeps climbing.
That's what I like.
It keeps climbing. Like, you just like, when is this roller coaster going down? Like, you know.
And you don't know when it's gonna start. It ain't like 1, 2, 3, here it go. You be sitting there, you be like, all right, I took the edible. Let me take the kids to school. Like, oh my God, wait a minute.
See, that's why the smart thing you do is you eat the edible, then you smoke, and as you coming down from the smoke high, the edible high goes up.
Nobody told me that trick. I like that one. I'm writing that down. That's the better way.
So, Flush, man, I just want to say it was a privilege to be able to interview you today and get your story. Is there anything that you want to say to the people before we go ahead and wrap it up?
I would like to say, anybody going through any type of trauma, anything in their life, let the world know. Express your feelings. Do not hide them to yourself. You know, and don't and just don't put yourself in a corner and back yourself down. There's love out there, and do it for yourself. Don't do it for nobody else.
And Ghetto Billionaire on its way. You got a expected date?
I got an album I'm about to put out. It's called My Will. It's 7 songs. You know, and I don't mean my will like I'm dying. It's like a will, like, you know, like my grandparents made their will 20 years before they died. You know, I guess going along the 20 years, they had to make some change up. This kid ain't getting no money no more. This kid's getting more, so whatever. But it's like my living will. It's quick 7 songs, and I'm giving it to you. And then I want to throw Ghetto Billionaire out. When I throw Ghetto Millionaire out, you know, in '97, it was August 19th. So I think I want to throw Ghetto Billion out August 19th.
Wow, yeah, that would be dope. Well, when is My Will coming out?
My will, I'm trying to reach my birthday, May 12th.
May 12th. Okay. Oh, you a Taurus?
Yeah, I'm a Taurus.
Got you.
You know, and being that I got cancer, they you know, the whole like the like the government or everybody that's part of the like the council of men and all of that, they gave May 12th Royal Flush Day. So that's in the calendar. So May 12th is considered Royal Flush Day for Queens.
That's dope, man. And then also 50, we waiting on him to you know, for you to end up in the origin story, you know what I mean, for Power or in the BMF
my
joint.
Own story. My nigga, I mean, I understand BMF, but nigga, my story a little crazy too.
Yeah, we need something though, but we got to see Flush in something, man. So
yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, I would love to see that, man. Yo, Flush, thank you so much again, bro. I appreciate you.
Thank you. I'm sorry. Nigga, you see, the best interviews take a little time, man. I'm sorry. I'm lined up. Thank you, bro.
No doubt, man.